Dusty's a genius. I mean, he gave me my first job, and I started working right there in the Carolinas when he turned it all around. The Four Horsemen, all that stuff, man. So why wouldn't you want a guy with that type of knowledge in his head?
Let me bring up one more thing before we get out of here. Mr. McMahon, the docu-series, revealed something I didn't know. And I'm sure it's probably been out before, but I wasn't aware that one of the first guys Vince McMahon was planning on putting in that top position in the WWF was Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't know that.
Wow. Dusty was a huge star on cable television and in the magazines. Every month we had him on the cover. Dusty was huge. I don't mean just bodily, but he was a huge star. And yeah, Vince Sr. and Jr. both had him in mind at the beginning. He worked for Vince Sr. for quite a long time too, before he even became the polka dot guy. He and Superstar Graham had a feud all around the WWF that just blew people's minds. And the charisma of Dusty was just incredible. Incredible.
And why wouldn't you want him? Okay, Dusty is a genius. I mean, he gave me my first job, and I started working right there in the Carolinas when he turned it all around. The Four Horsemen, all that stuff, man. So why wouldn't you want a guy with that type of knowledge in his head?
It still bogs my mind today, and they said that it was Eddie Graham who kind of sold Vince Sr. on the idea of Bob Backlund over a colorful star, like an Irish all-American boy type of thing. They said it was Eddie Graham that sold McMahon on that. And to me, Backlund was a great athlete, and he followed in the steps of like Bruno Sammartino and Pedro Morales. But if you wanted a colorful, schmaltzy type of star, it wasn't him.
You think you know all the wrestling stories? There's more you haven't heard yet. Join us on Backstage Pass.
The one thing that I always kind of wonder, and Vince even said, kind of alluded to the fact that he thought Dusty turned him down because Dusty didn't believe in the vision that Vince had. So later on, when he did come back to work for Vince, people were saying, well, the polka dots were a rib on Dusty. Teddy, do you think there was any truth to that? Could it have been a rib on Dusty to put him in polka dots as kind of a Vince thing to kind of get him back for not believing in him?
Well, I mean, that's possible. You know what I mean? I mean, I've seen that happen, to guys that cause problems, and I've seen them go out and things happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. You know what I mean? Like I said, that could be possible. You know what I mean? Because,
I think that Vince created a polka dot character, and Dusty was the guy to fill that role.
All right, so let me ask you then, if he had chosen Dusty, and that was the first guy that he was going to put in the WWF, would he have put him on TV in polka dots?
No. I don't think he would have had the polka dot character in mind at that point. No.
I just don't know. I guess Vince has some wild ideas and the polka dot characters.
But Vince is all about the marketing.
I agree. I think that Dusty was a perfect fit for WWE because of the entertainment value in Dusty and the wrestling knowledge of Dusty. Dusty had everything that Vince needed at that time. So I'm not surprised that Vince went after him by any means.
Here's what you got to understand. Even though Vince put him in the polka dots, Dusty overcame. Dusty was a guy that, hey, I don't care what you do. It was like me. I don't care what you do. I'll get this over. So Dusty put them polka dots on, went out there and got it over. You know what I mean? So that's playing the game.
Keep in mind that Dusty in Florida became the American dream, okay? So there were no polka dots, there were no gimmicks except Dusty moving his butt and connecting with the people, which would have made him the perfect champion, because you need to know how to talk to the people, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, I mean, Dusty was always Dusty. No matter what character he was playing, he was always Dusty. That was it.
And that's one word that he called himself, the common man.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Think about that.
Yep. Well, that's why it worked so well, because people could associate with him. They could feel him. He had that vein of the people. He knew what they
Even
were.
though
Keep in mind.
even though I'm on TV, I'm just like y'all.
Keep in mind, McMahon was coming off Bruno, the Italian heritage, Pedro, the Latin American heritage, superstar Billy Graham, Ivan Koloff. So he was going a lot of ethnicities, etc. Even though Graham wasn't an ethnic champion, but Dusty was a plain showman, and Vince Jr. was looking for showman. And to me, Dusty would have fit that part great. But I think Dusty had a camaraderie with Eddie Graham in Florida to make that territory what it became. And I don't think he wanted to leave Eddie Graham. And he wanted to stay in that territory and grow there. That's just my opinion.
And like I say, man, with Vince is always testing you. And I think that was Dusty's test, the polka dots. And
What did Dusty do? Wait a minute. What did Dusty do before Vince? Dusty Rhodes created Starrcade. WrestleMania wasn't even in Vince's head at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, and then it became major competition too at that time.
Yep.
Right. So like I said, I think that was just Dusty's test. We all been through Vince's test. He tests everybody. And all I can say is God rest his soul, Dusty passed that test.
Let me leave you with one thought. All my little black babies, my little white babies, my little black babies, my little Chinese babies, if you will, it's all about the American dream.
That's just horrible, Bill.
Thank you. That's what he used to say. That's what he used to say.